Yo guys, what's up? Shadow here, and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So, today, hopefully we will be able to get all these pretty gyroscopes fixed up, and then we'll see how well this whole ship now is able to navigate. But obviously that will take up a load of material, so let's get started. Let's go. Let's be quick about it. Get things on the roll here. But yeah, I was kind of, before I went into the game, of course there's a little loading screen, right? And on the loading screen, if you load into a world, there's like, obviously there's like the tip section, there's an image, and there's also like these icons where you can see what kind of DLC you have installed. And I concluded that Space Engineers can have about 28 more DLC before they run out of room. I don't know if that's good news or bad news, and I think that's for you all to decide if you think that's good or bad. But yeah, if they keep going with that, that's when they will run into problems. Not that it's a crazy problem, but you know, sometimes there's these things that people just don't think about when they build something and when they look into the future. There's like a few problems like that in IT in general. You know, the day when we will not have enough IP addresses to give out, you know, stuff like that. Or the day where like in databases, things like dates cannot be stored anymore because the number, well, you know, sometimes things are not stored in like text form, like, oh, today is the 12th of May, da da da. It's often stored in like timestamp format, which is like the amount of, I think it's seconds that have passed since a certain moment. I cannot off the top of my head remember what that moment is, but it's basically calculated like that. And at one point, the date will be so much time ago passed since that moment that certain databases might not be able to store a date like that anymore. Because, you know, when you make databases, you often have to like specify what? Oh, shit. I kind of saw it coming, but oh boy. But yeah, you know, you have to like specify how. Oh Jesus, I still have dampeners not on. There you go. What kind type of data a database shall hold? What kind of things you can type in, so to speak. But in general, at a certain point, it doesn't matter how you defined it. There is like almost like a physical limitation to that, or, well, there will be. So yeah, there's often things that you don't plan for it because it's so far in the future, but it will happen one day. You know, like also in the physical world, you know, when you look at license plates, at one point we will run out of freaking numbers. Same with telephone numbers, probably. And then we'll have to change the system, and it's going to be awkward. But, you know, you have to think about these things. But often times it gets handled like a lot of things get handled with the human race. We basically say, it's not my problem, somebody will have to deal with it when the time comes. And that's the end of that. So, yeah. Good luck to the future generation to have to solve this one, right? But yeah, I was just thinking when I saw this, I found it funny with the DLC. Speaking of which, it's been quite quiet, actually. I haven't really heard any news on the next update for Warfare. Also, I'm kind of wondering if there's going to be like a Halloween update again, what it's going to be. I don't know. With a lot of games, there's always like this feeling that there's at least a Halloween update, probably something for Christmas. I really hope that the Warfare update comes out before that, but I don't know. You know, it is how it is. But damn. It has been a while since the whole thing got announced, didn't it? To be fair, I like it more if they make sure the update is complete and everything works as intended than just releasing it for releasing's sake, you know what I mean? Because there's too many games and companies to do that and have yielded terrible results doing so. Oh yeah, also, I started playing another game on the side. Actually something I've played before, and something that, looking back on it and compared to other games of that series, is probably one of the more terrible ones. I just saw that Metal Gear Solid 5 was on like a super low sale. And I played that game before on the PlayStation, but I don't know, I just wanted to play it again for some reason, because certain aspects of Metal Gear Solid 5 I really enjoyed. But yeah, it was like, I think it was, Kojima was probably on his way out when that game got developed, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was weird. It was a weird game. I mean, it still feels like a Metal Gear Solid game, just from the story, you know, it's crazy, it's big, it has a lot of like Kojima tropes in it. Kind of like Death Stranding too. It's just it is how it is. That man cannot hide his fingerprints, and probably he shouldn't, because that's what makes him kind of genius sometimes. But the problem, of course, is that it's like an open world game. And that is a problem, I feel, because I mean, if you look at like Metal Gear Solid 2, for example, you could argue that there's certain open world aspects in that as well, but it's not kinda the same. It's not really comparable, because even though you have kind of open world stuff and you can go around and you know, pick some items up, try to get some challenges done, but it's still, you are on one mission and always on that mission. Even if you're not doing that mission at the moment, you're just at that one mission all the time. And the game sometimes blocks path off for you, sometimes it opens new paths up, sometimes it forces you to do stuff for the sake of story. And if you ever played Metal Gear Solid, story is like one of the big things in that game. I think Metal Gear Solid 4 had like a 1.5 hour or 2 hours like ending credit cutscene, just to tie everything up. That was crazy. I remember that. You know, I was playing that like late in the evening, and I had like, I think I was in school back then. I had school the next day, and it was like close to midnight, and it was like, oh, I'm just finishing up the game. I'm going to bed once this is all over. Finished the boss battle, it was like 11:30 or something, and then, yeah, I'm just gonna watch the credits real quick, and like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh, god damn it. And you cannot just stop. It was so invigorating, so interesting to watch that stuff, but yeah. Anyway. I don't know, the MSG5 with its open world design, there's some things that I really like about this game. The problem is, if you would make this game and not call it a Metal Gear Solid game, I almost have the feeling it would have been better. Because I do like this kind of aspect of choosing my mission, then choosing from where I'll deploy into that mission, what equipment I bring to the mission. I do like that a lot, and I mean a lot. And even I like it even more if I then realize that I've picked terribly, my equipment is shit, and I now need to spend money to airdrop something else into the zone because I failed to plan. I like that. I find that very interesting. I do like planning stuff like that. But maybe because it's a Metal Gear Solid game, it really leaves that weird taste in your mouth, you know? It's kind of like, this is not how it's supposed to be. But yeah, also the boss battles are weird, but that's another story. But I don't know, I'm just playing it again, and I'm trying to be a bit more, I don't know how to say that, cognizant of what I'm doing. I'm trying to to see if there's anything I missed, or because I cannot really remember a lot about the story in that game from when I played it last time, I have to say. So I'm just trying to see if I missed something. But yeah. I mean, the whole Metal Gear Solid universe is complicated as hell. You need probably like a ton of graphs and stats and charts to figure out what goes in which order. I mean, it's not like it's not rare that I confuse between like Snake and then there's Big Boss. You know, there's so many names and peoples and clones of people. It's really difficult, but I love it. I just love that franchise. I really do. But damn, that was one of the like. I think I started the series with Metal Gear Solid 2, which was a weird place to enter the story, I feel. Because that's when they introduced basically the new character, Raiden, or Raiden. Like the God of Thunder Raiden from Mortal Kombat, namesake-wise. But, I don't know, to me it was just a cool game, because I didn't have like the story and emotional baggage that other Metal Gear Solid players had that came into MSG2. Because if you played the other games beforehand, you're like, where is Snake? Why am I playing as this dope? What did you do to Snake, you know? And to me that never really mattered. I liked Raiden as a character. I mean, he took a weird development path with the whole Cyber Ninja thing later on, but I kind of dig that as well. I also like the Metal Gear Solid, oh god, what is it called? Revengeance, I think, or something? The where you play as Raiden in the ninja form, and it's basically like a hack and slash game, and it's really confusing, and I don't think it really fits into the story at all. Why did I get steel plates again? I don't know. But I did like the game, from a gameplay aspect, and from the music as well, but Jesus Christ, man. But generally, lately I've been, like, revisiting or looking at all the games that I used to play, and kind of trying to remember why I liked them so much, or if I would still like them. You know, I was just recently looking over the Elder Scrolls series, and it's kind of interesting there as well. I didn't start with the first Elder Scrolls because I'm just not that old. I started with Morrowind, which was, I think, Elder Scrolls 3, if I remember correctly. Which, well, it's kind of stupid because the first time I played Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind was, I think it was my father brought like a bunch of CDs he got from somewhere, I don't know, but one of them was Morrowind. The problem is the only option on installation was English language, and it was at a time where I actually didn't know any English. I think it was even before we had English in school, so I must have been in like probably like the 5th grade or something, 6th grade potentially. So yeah, and I played the game. I loved the game. I loved the exploration, but I didn't understand 1 ounce of the story, which was weird. But yeah, I loved that game a lot. And then obviously I played it again later in German to understand what I was actually supposed to do, because the first time around I never finished the game, because how could I? For one, I never knew where to go, and Morrowind was one of these games where you could accidentally kill one of the most important quest NPCs and basically fuck over the whole game. So you couldn't complete it. It was one of these games. Not many of these games around anymore that basically create a that let you create a world state that is unfinishable. I mean, if you look at the Skyrim, for example, important NPCs are just protected. Even if you don't know they're important yet, if you just like try to kill somebody and they're like they just fall unconscious, you will know, oh, that is a quest NPC for something important. Right. It kind of takes you out of it, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, there was Morrowind, and then I played Oblivion. Oblivion, I think I remember it as better as it has any right to be. Because lots and lots of Oblivion is not really well designed. Especially quest-wise, there's so much boring stuff in there. And it kind of feels fragmented a bit, the game, because you have super boring quests in there that have nothing to do with what you're trying to achieve. You're just basically sent to Cave A to kill 700 evil doers in there, and yeah, go off, whatever. It just has no connection with what you're doing. And then in the same game you have the frickin' Brotherhood, which I think almost in every game the Brotherhood / Assassin Guild was probably the best quest line ever. Although to be fair, the later stages of the Brotherhood quests get a bit weird as well, even though it has a reason why they get weird, but still, it's just, I don't know. However, Shivering Isles, the DLC, Shivering Isles for Oblivion, was freaking amazing. Probably one of the best DLCs I've ever played. One of the best DLCs in general, I think. Like, it ranks for me up there with, like, Lord of Destructions for Diablo 2. Which is probably one of my favorite DLCs ever. So, yeah. Shivering Isles was just amazing. Geogorod is an absolute nutcase, and he's lovely. I love it. But yeah, then, I don't know. Oblivion was... The thing is, when you start with Morrowind, and then gradually go to Oblivion, and then to Skyrim, it's kind of a weird experience. Because for one, things get polished and refined, and things get fixed, and stuff gets, like, ironed out. But you also notice this streamlining takes a lot of the edges off, and that is for good and for bad. I remember in Morrowind, you basically had like 10, 12, maybe more different weapon classes. You know, it's like one-handed maces, two-handed maces, one-handed swords, two-handed swords, one-handed axes, two-handed axes, spears, staffs. Yeah, there were spears, and I think there was also throwing weapons, if I remember correctly. There was a whole bunch of different stuff and skills attached to it. And then in Oblivion, they started to narrow it down. I think it was only one-handed... I think it was axes, maces, and swords. One-handed and two-handed, I believe. And then in Skyrim, it's just one-handed, blunt, No, it's just one-handed and two-handed, right? They completely removed any, like, this classification system. Of course, in the skill tree, you have a bit of choices if you want to go for a more axe-focused build. But it all floats into the same skill tree, so if you do not choose a specific thing, you can switch later on. So it's really like a streamlining going on, and I kind of dislike it. I don't know why, I just like having like different little skill trees and different skills to level up. I don't know, I just enjoy that. But yeah, not everything was better back in the day. Definitely not. Nostalgia is like a really, really treacherous thing sometimes. I mean, I know that in... to be fair, when I was a kid and played the game, I find it the best thing ever. But now looking at it from a like gameplay developer's view, it's really bad. There was in Oblivion, you had the lockpicking skill. I think it was called lockpicks. Or was it? I think it was just lockpicking skill, which obviously made it easier for you to pick locks, obviously. However, the game gave you a quest that you could, if I remember correctly, you could do it quite early on for Nocturnal? The Daedra of the Knight Daedra, the Thief Daedra Prince thingy. Basically, you get a skeleton key from that. And as we all know, skeleton keys, there's like a super mighty artifact. I think it finds its way in many fantasy universes. It's basically a key that can open all locks. And as soon as you acquire the skeleton key, yeah, that whole skill, the lockpick skill, you can ignore that for now, because it's an unbreakable lockpick. And in Oblivion, you had the a button below the lockpicking minigame that just say force, which basically is it's like when you press it, the game calculates like a random chance if the lockpick opens the lock or not, and if it's not successful, it will break the lockpick. So it's basically a faster way to get through a lock without fiddling with all the pins, but it will break probably more lockpicks than you would if you try normally. However, if you have the skeleton key, guess what? Yeah, you can just like auto-click that button like 100 times in a second, and you will open the thing without ever having to do any work. It's really weird. So you have a whole skill tree around, or a skill set around the purpose of picking locks, and then you have an item in the game which invalidates the whole thing. It's a weird design choice, honestly, but yeah, again, that's just, I don't know. When I look back to the game, I'm sure I had fun with Oblivion, for sure. Because I'm pretty sure when Oblivion came out, it was a groundbreaking thing. It was so massive that you probably tend to overlook a lot of its shortcomings. But still, it's... There's so many flaws in that game. So many weird things that just don't make any sense. That feel like an afterthought. You know, again, it feels like cobbled together. Like, just... Many people try to work on the game and then they just tossed everything together without any quality control and without really, you know, looking at the tone of the different things. I think with the guilds, it's the worst in Oblivion. Again, you have the Dark Brotherhood, which is probably one of the most awesome, even if it's kind of edgy, guilds. And then you have the Thieves Guild, which I think is also pretty decent. And then the Fighters Guild, and especially the Mages Guild, I remember they were so stupid and annoying. Especially because you could do the Mages Guild without being a mage. I don't think it was ever required of you to do anything. You were basically always sent on weird fetch quests and kill quests without ever having to resort to, you know, magic. I guess the Fighters Guild, yeah, you have to fight, obviously. That's always... I think the Fighters Guild in any Elder Scrolls games that I played was always like the blandest choice, but that's just by the sake of being just a fighter, mercenary. That's just what you do. You just fight and kill things. The Thieves Guild, I mean, you had to be a thief to be in the Thieves Guild, otherwise you wouldn't really be doing the quest. You couldn't really get past most of the stuff if you're not a thief. If you couldn't sneak, if you couldn't lockpick, well, minus the skeleton key thing, of course, but yeah. But the Mages Guild, that was really weird. I also remember there's like, again, that kind of gives like credence to they toss things together without looking at each other, what each other were creating. There's a quest in, I think it's the Thieves Guild, where you have to steal something from the Mages Guild. I think from the Archmage or one of the higher ranking mages. And the thing is, when you do the Mages Guild beforehand, you basically become the Archmage. And then it kind of breaks down to that you break into your own Archmage's quarter, steal a thing, and then I think you leave like a warning or a notice behind, essentially for yourself. It really makes no sense. There's so many things that are weird, but yeah, I don't know. Then again, I really liked Oblivion and the Shivering Isles specifically. So I don't want to bash the game too much, but Jesus Christ, man, we've come a long way. Even though there's still a lot of, like, oh shit, a lot of things in Bethesda games that just feel the same. It doesn't matter which game you're playing. Ah, well. It was very rambly today, this episode, wasn't it? But you know, sometimes when I'm welding big stuff, sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, we can do a montage, that's fine. But sometimes I just feel like, oh yeah, I don't know, I have something to talk about. Okay, son? Is this like Morse code? Are you trying to signal for help, or what's going on? But only if I don't look directly at you. That's weird. You should stop that. Yeah, I don't know. You know, every once in a while I just feel like talking about these things. I'll have to check on Steam after this. There's, I think, isn't it like a summer sale right now? I totally was oblivious to that, but yeah, I guess it is. So I have to check if there's other like old games that I can snatch up for cheap and then play them for an hour and then get disappointed. Because, yeah, the rose-tinted nostalgia glasses wear off quickly. But, you know, every once in a while, you will find one of these older games and you play it and you realize, yeah, they are actually that good. That just happens every once in a while. But, yeah. Okay, so, you know what? I'm just gonna weld that front beam here real quick. And then, maybe I should just put in the staircase real quick. I have an idea what we do with it. But I have to check how if it's doable and how weird it looks. Then we need to get the right material for that as well. There you go. So we'll have to close that up in the aftermath, of course. Oh, Jesus. That, yeah. I saw my life before my eyes there for a second. Probably interior plates, too. Let's just get these two. So, we need stairs, and then I also want to see catwalks. Right. So. Oh, probably should actually get some steel plates too, because we might need some steel for the freaking blocks. Oh. Oh, great. I don't think you could hear that, but one of our cats, I think, just coughed up either a hairball or something else. Ugh, I hate that noise. If you don't have a cat, you cannot know that noise. But if you do have cats, you know the noise. The noise when cats are trying to get up like a furball or something like that. That's such a I don't know. It's a creepy noise. It's like a dry heaving, like human dry heaving, but entirely weirder. It's so not pleasant. It like, at least me, it like startles me. Even normally I don't hear things when I have my headphones on. Even though Space Engineers is probably one of the quieter games, but I still normally don't hear stuff. But that noise I could hear through the headphones. Something about that noise is just, there's like all alarm bells a go, you know what I mean? Oh man. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of like have like a catwalk section here. I don't know how smart that is though. Also, I'm not quite sure if it's generally speaking why we do it. I mean, I kind of want to have like computer screens somewhere, but I don't know if I should put them here. And then where does the freaking stair continue? The staircase, you know what I mean? Okay, let's put it like this for now. Basically gonna be like double-sided here. Like this, and then here, and then maybe from here on out the thingy goes downwards again. Like so? I don't know. Is that smart? Did I do it wrong? No, that's fine. And then I want to have like the catwalk going in this direction, and then we'll have like control stations here and here that are looking out at the gyroscopes, something like that. And then we're just continuing downwards with the hi cat, did you puke? Where did you leave it? I will have to go and investigate later. It's always so nice. You know your cat has deposited something for you somewhere. You just have to find it. And hopefully not step in it. That's probably the worst part. You're like going around, you know it's somewhere, and then you suddenly feel that moist feeling from your foot, you know? Like you stood into the, like a little puddle of rain. And you're like, oh no. Oh, please. Have mercy, oh Lord. But yeah. Well, you know. Having cats is kind of almost like having very, very independent and at the same time very, very dependent furry little babies. Oh, it's weird. But hey, there you go. Boom! Now I'm kind of thinking, because it doesn't match up quite here. It's annoying. It's really annoying that doesn't match up right now. You see what I mean? That is extremely annoying. And I wonder if I should do something along these lines here. And then just use, again, catwalks to go around it. I don't know. I'm a bit torn here. Yeah, we'll have to use the I'll have to be a bit creative here, I suppose. I have to make this double layered, so to speak. There you go. There's the corner bit. Corner bit. Corner bit. I'm not super happy about this solution, but yeah, maybe there's not many other ways to do this right now. In the configuration we have it. Something along those lines. Just go up, and then there you have some controls here. Yeah, something like that, I suppose. But yeah, that's gonna be left up for next episode, I suppose. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my random rambling nostalgia talk thing. And I hope to see you guys next time, so take care.